You know, in a small village in Poland, there's a story that's so wild, so significant, they literally carved it into stone. This isn't just another story about weird lights in the sky. This is one of the country's most famous and, believe it or not, officially commemorated mysteries.
And this is what's written on that monument, right at the site where this all supposedly went down. It was put up in 2005, and it doesn't just mark something that happened in the past. It makes this bold, cryptic promise that whatever really happened here, the full story is still out there, waiting to blow our minds.
And that's really the heart of the mystery here, isn't it? I mean, we build monuments for war heroes, for major historical events. So why on earth did this community decide to permanently memorialize the day a local farmer said he met visitors from another planet?
All right, so to get why there's a monument, we've got to go back. Let's rewind to the man at the center of it all. The date is May 10th, 1978, and a 71-year-old farmer is about to have a morning that will completely shatter his reality.
The whole thing was over in a flash. We're talking less than an hour. So Jan Wolski, he's just heading through the woods with his horse and cart like any other day. And then, bam, he runs into two strange figures. They gesture towards this hovering object, inviting him to come with them, and, in a move that would define the rest of his life, he said yes.
And right away, this is where the story just completely veers off the standard abduction path. Wolski was crystal clear about this. He wasn't dragged away. He wasn't taken against his will. He was invited, and just out of sheer curiosity, he went along.
So how did he even get on board this thing that was just hovering there? Well, this is one of the most mind-bending parts of his story. He said a platform came down from the object, he stepped on it, and it lifted him up. But here's the thing, it was completely silent, and he felt absolutely no sensation of movement, no inertia, no G-force, nothing. I mean, how is that even possible? We can't do that today.
And the details Wolski gave? Wow. For a farmer back in '78, they were just incredibly specific. He described this seamless, bus-shaped thing. No rivets, no joints, just a smooth white shell. It had these 4 spinning rods on the outside and made a low humming sound. The inside, super simple, just a few benches. And then, get this, the weirdest detail of all, a pile of frozen blackbirds on the floor. Like, what? Are we talking biological samples, trophies, leftovers?
And the beings inside, just as bizarre as their ship, their whole vibe was efficient, almost robotic, procedural. Which really makes you wonder, right? Was Wolski interacting with actual living creatures? Or were these more like android field techs just running a program?
So he said they had these green faces, kind of olive-colored, with slanted eyes and webbed fingers. And their medical exam, super quick, super simple. They just had these 2 little vibrating discs they passed over his body, no pain, no weird operations. After a few minutes, that was it. They politely motioned for him to leave.
Okay, so that is the story. I know it sounds absolutely nuts, but is it just a story, or is there actually something here to back it up? Let's look at the evidence that this might have been the real deal.
Look, a story like this lives or dies on the witness. And Jan Wolski, he was seen as a rock. His neighbors, his community, they all vouched for him, an honest, sober man. And later, psychologists checked him out and found 0 signs of mental illness or delusion. Everything pointed to him being a totally sincere witness.
But here's the kicker. Wolski might not have been the only one who saw something that day. Totally separate from him, a little 6-year-old kid in the area apparently told his parents he saw a strange flying bus floating low in the sky, right over a barn. A flying bus? How perfect is that? The language is simple, of course, but the description is an uncanny match for what Wolski saw.
So you've got a credible witness, you've got a kid who seems to back him up, and you've got all these crazy specific details. It sounds like a pretty solid case for contact, doesn't it? Well, what if the real story has nothing to do with aliens and everything to do with a very human and far more twisted plot?
And this is where the story just takes this massive hairpin turn. Decades later, a theory popped up suggesting the entire thing wasn't an alien encounter at all. It was a human plot, a conspiracy of the mind that just absolutely exploded.
So the theory goes like this. It all started with a bet between 2 Polish ufologists who pretty much hated each other. One of them allegedly claimed he could use hypnosis to plant a super detailed, totally false memory of a UFO encounter in someone's head. And the target? Apparently Jan Wolski.
The whole point was to feed this fake story to the rival researcher, let him promote it, and then, wham, publicly humiliate him by revealing it was all a hoax. But there was one huge problem. The story was too good, too believable, and it got away from them.
So this just leaves us in this incredible spot. What's actually crazier to believe? That aliens landed in a Polish forest, or that a bitter human feud spun a psychological plot so complex and successful it fooled an entire country? I mean, honestly, both explanations sound like they're straight out of science fiction. No matter which side you land on, though, aliens or conspiracy, one thing's for sure, the story of Emilcin has stuck around. So let's zoom out for a second and just ask why. Why do we remember stories like this? Why do they leave such a huge mark?
You know, after digging through everything, the testimony, the psych reports, even that wild hypnosis theory, some investigators actually put a number on it. They figured there was about a 60 to 65% chance that what Jan Wolski said happened actually happened. Now that's not proof, but wow, that is a pretty stunning conclusion to come to.
And get this, Emilcin isn't some one-off thing. It's part of this bigger, fascinating pattern all over the world. You go to Pascagoula, Mississippi, and there's an official historical marker for a similar encounter back in 1973. Over into Chmont, Scotland, another bizarre encounter with a forester from '79 is now a designated walking route. It's the same pattern, a bizarre, rural story that the local community eventually decides to own, to commemorate.
And this really poses a tough question for the hardcore skeptics, doesn't it? If these events were all just hoaxes or misidentifications or delusions, why did these towns, years and years later, feel the need to put up permanent monuments and historical markers? What are they really remembering?
Which brings us right back to where we started, back to those words carved in that stone in Emilcin. After everything we've just gone through, the impossible details, the credible witness, the bizarre conspiracy theory, that global pattern, that sentence hits a little different now, doesn't it?
You know, in the end, whether the truth is out there in the stars or somewhere deep inside the tangled web of the human mind, the Emilcin Monument is proof that we haven't found it yet. And it just leaves you wondering, what other astonishing truths about our world and about ourselves are still out there, just waiting to be discovered?